Hey guys, welcome back to Spilling the Reality with just Trisha today. Kylie had some errands to run, so she has some prior commitments and not able to join us live today. So if you're joining us live to talk about all things Big Brother, everything going on the feeds, and you're in the chat with us live, then you guys are my co-host today. So looking forward to talking about the HOH competition, everything happening on the feeds, who the HOH plans on nominating, and what's going on in the house. So, looking forward to talking about all these things. Like I said, if you are watching live, then be sure to drop a chat and I will be sure to pop those up on the screen. If I don't get to them as I'm going through the topics, then I will definitely spend some time at the end walking through each of your comments. All right, guys, so let's kick it off talking about the episode last night. So we did get the eviction episode, and we also got to see the jury. So in the jury house, we did get to see Davon confront Tyler about using the Black Lives Matter movement um, in swaying her thoughts and judgment in the house. And I felt like this was really good and needed for Tyler to be able to explain his thoughts and his rationale because we did see on Twitter that um, I think it was Entertainment Weekly reached out and to Tyler and asked this question specifically, and he advised no comment. So the Twitter world was in a swirl over this. So CBS did the thing with letting him explain. So he needed to do this, I think, to you know save himself, and he really did need to talk to Davon about this. So I'm glad that I hope this wasn't scripted and Davon truly asked because she was curious and Tyler gave a truthful answer. But we also got to see in the jury house that they got to see their family. And I don't recall this happening in the past. Maybe it has happened and we haven't seen it, or I'm just not remembering correctly. But yeah, they got to see their family, which was so sweet. And I definitely teared up at a few of them. The house guests were super emotional getting to see their family members on video, similar to what they used to do in old school Survivor. The family would send in videos and give them life updates. So, all the more perks of staying in the jury house. And I wonder if this is something that we will see going forward because we do see a lot of house guests want to quit. They want to be evicted prior to jury because they just want to see their family. So maybe this is something that we will see forever going forward is them getting to see their jury, their family in the jury house. So moving into Memphis going home. So we did get to see in the episode Memphis's confidence level that we've talked about to you guys for the past few days. That Memphis was super confident that he wasn't going home prior to Thursday. He thought, he was safe. Christmas was for sure going out. The wise guys were going to, they were the two people voting, and there was no way that they were going to vote out Memphis. So we did get to see that on the show. And so yeah, and then we get to the votes, and I do want to tell y'all that they did tell him. They did not blindside him. They did tell him. So his inkling of knowing, I think he just couldn't say that on the air, but they did tell him. They did not blindside him. They let him know, Memphis, you're the one going this week. So he did know before he left the house. Um, and the house guests did a great job of, doing their goodbye messages and doing that jury management, explaining everything. But let's also talk about their speeches. So Christmas does her speech, and we've seen these kind of interesting speeches from Christmas lately, and she says, I love you, Julie, but I'm just not ready to see you yet, or something along those lines. And I'm like, okay, but, like, Ju it's not like Julie gets to choose if you're the one that stays or goes. So, this speech was a little weird to me, but I get it. Maybe she's running out of content. She's been on the block a few times now, so, um, and then Memphis does his speech, and he does give a shout out to his girlfriend. which we've, kind of talked about this Memphis Christmas showmance and this weird thing going on with them. So I just thought that was interesting that he shouted out his girlfriend. Good job, Memphis. And yeah, so then we get Memphis. He does get evicted 2-0. As expected, Cody and Enzo do vote Memphis out, and he goes to see Julie. And his interview with Julie's, whatever. There's not too much there, but she asked him if he wants to see his goodbye messages, and he's like, "I don't really want to see him." And I felt like Julie did not know how to respond to this. She was just like, "Well, okay." So that was a little bit awkward. Um, so, all right, let's move into the feed. So we do know that the HOH competition was the HOH with the checker chessboard, and every time they get to a square, they have to like pull up a square and they can only move so many pieces. And I can't remember if they like roll a dice or the other player chooses how many they move or something of that nature. I can't remember. Chat, if you remember, let me know. Kylie, you're in the chat. You have a memory of an elephant. Let me know. But yeah, so somehow they move across this board and they pick up the pieces, and eventually they're no longer able to move, so they have to quit. Or yeah, I don't remember either, Kathy. So anyway, they either have to, move, and somehow all the pieces are taken up and you can no longer move forward, and that's how you lose. So, but I do know that like somehow the other house guests can control, who's moving where, or there's a strategy. So anyway, we'll get to see that play out on Monday when the episode airs. But moving into the winner of the comp. So the winner of the comp is probably who we least expected. Enzo, the Meow Meow himself, wins the HOH comp. And there's a little bit of this kind of stirs up the house a little bit. So it sounds like it was Cody and Enzo were the final two. And Cody didn't want to win HOH really because that meant he would have to show his cards. And he would have to choose between Nicole and Enzo. And he didn't want to have to do that at this time. I don't know if that's the best game move, but we can definitely hash that out later. But Cody, it does have a conversation late last night, and he says that he threw the competition to Enzo, and he's annoyed how Enzo is acting over the win, as if it's like he did this big monster move. And we've seen Christmas do this before. And um, so, yeah, I mean, it sounds like Enzo's just really throwing in their faces or just so excited about his win. And maybe he is, but Cody is like, dude, I threw it to you. Um, Nicole is also annoyed because Enzo was trying not to make Christmas mad during the HOH comp. And she said this was kind of telling, that, Enzo was showing his true colors and Nicole doesn't no longer trust him. Um, and Nicole makes this comment and she's like, I'm still angry over what Enzo did to Cody. We don't know what that is exactly. I don't know if like Enzo was trying to get Cody out at some point, like early in the game. I don't know. We don't know. This comment just gets made. So it sounds like this competition was super telling about where everyone kind of lies and where Enzo lies. Um, Nicole goes on to say that the way Enzo played the HOH was very eye-opening, and she would take Christmas to final two over him now. So in Nicole's eyes, the lineup is Cody, Christmas, Enzo. And so yeah, this competition kind of screwed Enzo over a little bit. But not only is Cody and Nicole annoyed at Enzo, Enzo is annoyed at Christmas. As soon as the competition is over and we get the feeds back up, we see Christmas already talking to Enzo about nominees, and Enzo then later talks to Nicole, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, she's already bugging me. He's like, she needs to calm down. He's like, I have no idea what I'm doing, so I just need a break to figure things out." Which of course, him telling Nicole that he doesn't know what he's doing has her worried. So we get paranoid Nicole back in action. So Nicole's talking to Cody, and she's like, I'm going nuts. Like, this is driving me crazy. I'm annoyed at Enzo that he won the HOH, and Christmas thinks that she's close enough to Enzo that to tell Enzo to go after Cody. And Nicole's like, that probably means that Christmas is close to Enzo in the house. And Cody tells Nicole that Christmas isn't close to anyone, and Enzo has no power after nominations. And that, really, this does fall on the veto winner. So Nicole is very worried that Enzo and Christmas are closer than maybe they thought, and that Cody is going to be the target this week, and Nicole doesn't want to lose Cody. Nicole says that Enzo wants Christmas to go to the final 3 because she will take him to final 2. So, and Cody's like, Christmas isn't going to final 3. And he's like, I'm not going to allow her in final 3. So Cody's feeling pretty good right now. He feels like his bond with Enzo is enough to keep him off of the block. But Nicole is in straight panic mode. Cody says that Enzo told him that Nicole is in the best spot right now, and Nicole is also annoyed by this comment. She's like, why am I in the best spot? What did I do? And Cody says, well, it's because if Christmas wins the veto and she cuts him, so she's going to cut Cody instead of Nicole. So that's why you're in the best spot. And Cody says that he told Enzo that if he wins the veto, there's not a chance in hell that he'll take Christmas to the final 3. So if Cody wins veto, we will see the nom stay the same. If given that he's not on the block. Cody also says that if Christmas wins veto, then he's out. Nicole says Christmas is not going to win veto. Like, they cannot let that happen. So, Cody's they're all going to be fighting for the veto, obviously, because that will determine who goes to final 3 this week. But I would agree with Cody that if Christmas wins the veto, then Cody is definitely out this week. He will go on the block, and the vote would come between one person, and that one person, if Christmas wins veto, would be Christmas, and she's definitely going to get rid of Cody. She said it in her DRs this past week, and we've seen it multiple times on the feeds that her target is definitely Cody. She wants to get him out because that would be a good little check in her book for final 2 speeches. All right. I'm trying to watch the chat, y'all, but running this show by myself is really hard. So I will get to them at the end. If you could just say like what you're referencing, so I'm not like bringing up comments out of context. That would be super helpful. Sorry, guys. All right. So moving into who will be nominated. So we did get a little bit of nomination talk, even though Enzo made a comment to Nicole that he doesn't know who he's talking about. Enzo was talking to himself right when the feeds came back up and says that it's going to be hard because Cody wants Christmas out and Christmas wants Cody out, and Enzo wants Christmas to stay. So him saying this, he's like, I'll just see what happens on Saturday with the veto. But him saying this, I couldn't tell if he wanted to get out Cody or Nicole more, but it sounds like he wants Christmas to stay. So that was an interesting comment, especially considering how hard he was fighting to get Christmas out last week. But I think maybe he's now seeing that he can't beat Cody and he might not be able to beat Nicole. So later in the night, Nicole says that if Enzo doesn't nominate Christmas, then they know something's up, and she's talking to Cody. And Cody's like, he's definitely going to nominate Christmas. And Nicole says that she needs it to be her and Christmas because Enzo owes it to Cody not to put him up. That's 100% true. It's the least they could do. But early this morning in BB time, Enzo does have a conversation with Cody, and he's he said that he's going to play hard for the veto, and he wants Cody to play hard for the veto. And Enzo says that Nicole is in a great spot if they could, and they should cut her. And Cody's like, nah, I don't think we should. I don't want to do that. And Enzo's like, bro, yo, you're not going on the block. It's going to be us two in the final two, so it really doesn't matter which of these girls we get rid of this week. Two Jersey boys in the final two that never went on the block. So we expect to see Christmas and Nicole go up on the block this week. Um, Cody to stay off the block, and we don't really know. I mean, if Cody is the one voter, then he's going to keep Nicole. But, so if the noms stay the same, then we should see Christmas go this week as of right now. I'm going to get to the comments. I know I kind of said all that fast, but I don't have anybody to talk to. I feel like I went through that so fast. Okay, so that does bring us to our tweet of the day, which comes from our friend Kat Dunn. Enzo one Final Four HOH, and Enzo, it's too early to make a move, yo. And this tweet is the description of Big Brother 22. Enzo, time and time again, he won HOH. He was winning competitions at the beginning and then wanting other people to make the moves later. So it's constantly been a battle with Enzo of not wanting to make the move because it's too soon. Well, here we are, Final Four, and you have the power, dude. You've got to make a move. All right, I'm gonna go to the chat now. Those are our live feed updates from last night. We will see nominations happen today. So once those are up, be sure to follow us on social media where we will post them as soon as we see that they happen. And we'll be back tomorrow at 12 o'clock to talk about them. So, all right, I'm going to read through some comments on the chat. If you have any, be sure to drop them now and I will get to them because we're like done so early. Like I obviously talked too fast. I'm so sorry, y'all. Okay. Uncle John says, did Memphis curse at Enzo and Cody after being evicted before he walked out the door? My TV cut the volume for a second. The volume definitely did cut as if he was saying something, but sometimes if it's like production related, they'll mute them. Or I mean, he might have just been cursing in general and not necessarily at them because he didn't seem super bitter. So I don't know. Um, yeah, let's see here. Yeah, Julie didn't do her sign off at the end, so I don't have a sign off to do this week. Darn, Julie. Um, Yeah, Cody out of the two wise guy alliances to Memphis in his goodbye message, and that was so good. I think that tells Memphis, like, it gives him that shock factor of like, holy shit, like Cody really is playing a better game than even I thought. So I thought that was great of Cody to do. He needed it. I mean, he didn't need to do that. I think if Cody goes to the end, he's going to win. But this just really shows how great of a player that Cody is to Memphis. Mm-hmm. Yes, okay, that's right. So they have to move in an L shape and um turn, and when they get to, or when they leave that, they turn the tile over, and so it's like no longer that tile is open, and eventually all the tiles are turned over to where you cannot make a move, and that means you're no longer able to play. And so their strategy by watching how the other people are moving, so that way you can get them out. Or you can move places also to block them. So, because if they can't go in their L, they're out. Yeah, so Cody threw to Enzo, and it could definitely backfire if Christmas wins veto. So, I don't know that I don't know that Cody made the right decision by throwing this comp. Um, because if Cody won, he could still put up, Christmas and Nicole or Christmas and Enzo and just say, look, I have to put one of you up, like obviously, and the other one's gonna vote, they'll vote out Christmas. So I don't know. I get that he didn't want to choose between Enzo and Christmas. I mean Enzo and Nicole, but I mean he's gonna have to do it next week. Let's see. Will Nicole evict Cody? Absolutely not. There is 0% chance that Nicole evicts Cody. If somehow Cody ends up on the block and Nicole is the voter and Cody and Christmas are next to each other, which seems super unlikely. I guess if Nicole wins veto, she'll use it. Cody will go up. Um, will Nicole vote to evict Cody? No, she will get rid of Christmas. She has said that she's okay with taking second place, and this is really a season of I'm shooting for second. If she did get rid of Cody, that could really help her in the end game. Yes. So the only chance Cody goes is if Christmas wins veto. Correct. If Enzo wins veto, I don't know that he would get rid of Cody. Like he seems like he really wants to take Cody to final two. Cody's in a really great spot with Enzo and Nicole. Now, something could change. I don't know, like if Enzo and Nicole had a conversation where it shook up their opinions of Cody and like, oh, like he's really playing, he's really like made a solid final two with both of us, you know. Um Christmas is a veto away from Nicole F winning the season. Yes. Um Are you sure Enzo would turn on Cody? I don't think Enzo would turn on Cody. As much as he's like, I don't know what I'm doing, and he's having these conversations, I think that he's just strategically having these conversations. I don't think he would actually put up Cody. Enzo knows he can't beat Cody in final two. Enzo don't want to take two powerhouses like Lane and Hayden to final three again. I I don't know. Like the way he talks, which it is way he talks to Cody, he's saying, I would take you to final two. So we're he's not spilling a lot until the veto's done. So the veto is what is going to be most telling. Okay. Kylie says, I don't think Nicole will be okay with second. She really loves Big Brother. I agree, but I think she would be okay coming in second only to Cody. Danny F says, I'm still confused as to why Tyler was said to have been the biggest comp beast, even though he definitely was the best at comps when Cody has swept 2 weeks. I'm pretty certain that and has one more. Yeah, I don't have the stats, but just common sense logically thinking of the season, I would say that Cody is much more of a comp beast and he's won when he needed to. And uh, he's done a lot better than Tyler. I think Tyler only won like what, 2 comps this season? Ooh, would Nicole F not use the veto? Um, she'd be putting a lot of trust. I mean, Cody would be the voter, so she would be putting her trust into Cody. Um, and Cody might be trying to keep this record of not going on the block this season. So, Derek didn't go on the block his season and he beat Cody. So maybe Cody is trying to do the same thing and have that in his back pocket for those final 2 speeches. So it might happen. Kylie says, to be honest, I'm going to be disappointed if Cody played an almost flawless game and ends up losing because of effing Christmas, for sure. It would be so disappointing to have Christmas win after this, how hard Cody has played this season. Um, yeah, so Tony says, I don't hate Cody, but admit I'm rooting for Christmas to win veto this week just because it would be a surprise. Yeah, it would really shake things up. It would just be something different and not monotonous. We, at this point predict an Enzo, Nicole, Cody final three. Um, but then again, I'm like, I'm so tired of hearing Christmas talk about how great she is at this game and obviously not performing that well. So that would just really kind of be depressing. Honestly, at this point, I'm like, just give it to Cody. Um, Kylie says, "Can we talk about Tyler sobbing over Angela's video? He was upset, like next level, Kim Kardashian ugly crying over this video. I mean, it was kind of endearing. Like, I honestly got choked up at Danny's because not because of the cat, um, but because, as a mom and Davon's, as a mom and you're getting to see your kids, I could just imagine that feeling of overwhelming happiness. But we also know that Tyler has had a tough time with this game. He has missed Angela very much. So that's, I'm sure, where a lot of the tears came from. Yeah, so Julie, Julie's talking to Memphis about being, knocked out of the game. Did he really think that, these alliances that he built, these many alliances were going to take him to the end and how he was feeling about that? And he said, "You know what? It's a game. Like I can't be bitter about it. It's a game, played hard, and, you know, Memphis didn't seem bitter at all." Okay, let's see. Zach says, "Will BB get canceled if Nicole wins again?" Um, well, we did also see last night that after the episode aired, they posted about casting. So they're casting for Big Brother 23. So yeah, it seems like they're renewed for another season. And if you want to apply for Big Brother, you can go on the CBS website and send in your audition. What happened to Russell? Russell is alive and well. He does do updates and player performances. This is the live feed update, so Russell doesn't do those. That he does have a different part of this channel. So yeah, every day we're here at 12 o'clock doing live feed updates. Russell does not typically attend those. So he's alive and well. He did do a show last night with Rachel Swindler and her group, and it was super entertaining. Definitely recommend to check that out. He tweeted about it, so go follow Russell on Twitter if you're interested in hearing his takes on Big Brother. Okay, everyone's commenting. Oh. Everyone thinks your question was great, Zach. So I'm just gonna pop it back up. Will BB get canceled if Nicole wins again? I'm sure Nicole won't be back though. I mean, there's no way. Like, even though she would be the only two-time winner ever of Big Brother, there's just right, like there's just no way they bring her back, right? Again for a fourth season? That'd be a lot. That would be a lot. Um, yeah, maybe a winter season. I know, cause like, do they normally do the cast like, let everyone know they're casting at the end of the season? Because they want all these audition tapes right now if they're not gonna go on in until summer. Like, maybe they're gonna do another season because Survivor won't be on this fall. I don't think we're gonna get Survivor until next fall. So, maybe they're gonna be doing Big Brother in place of the Survivor slot. Let's see. Nicole could replace Julie. Well, we know that someone else is going for that spot, and it's Christmas herself. She wants to be the next Julie Chen. She thinks she would be great at it, among the many other things Christmas thinks she would be great at. So I don't know that Nicole is shooting for that spot, but Christmas is definitely shooting for Julie Chen's job. Same, Uncle John. Crushed about Survivor. It's one of my favorite shows. I like Survivor better than Big Brother, so I'm super bummed that it won't be coming on until next fall. But The Amazing Race is on, and me and Kylie are actually have a show today, an exit interview, with the latest the first team knocked out of The Amazing Race, Nathan and Cody. So we'll be doing that today at 3 o'clock Central Standard Time. So mark your calendars, hit that subscribe button because we are going to be talking to the Noodlers and we're excited. Their accents are thicker than ours. So we're like so pumped about that. So be sure to come back at 3 o'clock today to catch that interview. It will be posted to the channel this afternoon. So if you hit subscribe, you will get a notification when we go live. All right, a few more comments and yes, Kathy, at least we have The Amazing Race. It does make it a little bit better. And y'all, the cast does not disappoint of this Amazing Race team. Like I would say The Amazing Race is probably one of the least entertaining CBS shows, but this cast is actually super entertaining, super diverse, very well rounded. I'm very excited for this season of The Amazing Race. So, y'all, check out. We are doing recaps. If you've missed the last episode, we did a episode recap. You can watch that or go check out the episode on CBS All Access. Um, and yeah, noodlers. So on The Amazing Race, they are friends and they said their hobbies together are noodling, which is sticking your hand inside of a catfish mouth, like a huge catfish, and pulling it out of the water. Look it up on Google. It's crazy. So, yeah, check us out this afternoon. We will be chatting, doing an exit interview with the first team eliminated from The Amazing Race, Nathan and Cody. So check us out on there. All right, guys. Well, if there is nothing else, then check us out on social media as soon as those nominees happen. They should happen this afternoon they've been kind of happening kind of late lately, so maybe later this afternoon. But we'll get those up on our social media as soon as the feeds show us who is nominated. So check us out on social media at reality_TRHS. That's for Instagram and Twitter. Don't forget to subscribe, like, drop us a comment on your thoughts on today's episode. And I'm checking the comments one more time before I head out. All right, guys. Yeah, y'all are just talking about noodling. Is Julie retiring? No, I don't think Julie's retiring, but lots of, talk about who wants her job. All right, guys. Well, we will see y'all this afternoon at 3 p.m. to talk about The Amazing Race. Until then, see y'all tomorrow at 12 o'clock Central Standard Time. Cheers. Bye, y'all.